I want to welcome Madam Manei to welcome us officially from Pelham and AFSA, and and to just give an overview about why we are here and what she has to say for this forum for us. So karibu makofi ya Manei as she.
Thank you, Ratemo. Morning again. I hope you are all energized. Hatujachoka na Njoro. Was it too far? It was exciting. Okay, thank you so much. So I'll take a few minutes just to give official opening remarks. And first, I would like to say thank you for all of you for accepting this invitation. Most of you have busy schedules and other engagements, but you found time to be here. So we don't take it for granted, but we want to say thank you for coming here. So on this National Multi-Stakeholder Follow-up meeting, start more of cross-border trade and specifically for agroecological products. Is it? I don't know why I said, okay. I'll continue. So I'll start with Pelham Kenya. So Pelham Kenya is a national network of 69 member organizations, and we are spread across all the 47 counties in Kenya. We are promoting agroecological principles and practices among the smallholder farmers and pastoralists in Kenya. So we work through member organizations. Some of them are here. There's NIA here, there's Transcom here, there's Slow Food here, who are the ones who organized for the field visit. I don't know if I missed any other member organization. And C-Shape is here. So those are some of our member organizations. We also work very closely with other stakeholders, including county and national government. County government are well represented here, and we are supporting them greatly, especially in terms of issues of policies and other engagement. We have the other state departments, which we really want to work together, like the KRA who are here, KEBS, because we understand that trade is very important for the communities that we are working for. We have other stakeholders here, like ISFA, which is the Intersectoral Forum for Agrobiodiversity and Agroecology. We are members of that platform, and we are the ones who lead the policy and law technical working group, and I'm happy that they are also here. They have been key in supporting us in terms of policy development at national and also level. SNV here, we work very closely with them, and we've partnered in various activities, and we really appreciate your support here. I don't know if Chebet, did EVOS come? No, not yet, but we also have EVOS. So we are really happy that all of you are represented here. In terms of this workshop, it was supported by AFSA. AFSA is Alliance for Food Sovereignty, Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa, AFSA. And it's headquartered in Uganda, but it has office, it operates in all the African countries. So it supported this workshop, and we are really happy that they supported the workshop, and looking forward to ensure that agroecology is recognized in policies and in these African nations. And they are really championing for food sovereignty and in terms of our indigenous foods and seeds, to ensure that we are championing for our own foods, but not what they are bringing us to eat here, but what we have is more important for us in terms of health and also food security. So in terms of issues of climate change, we all know that climate change has become a very big, and agroecology has proven to be one of the approaches that can address these issues. So with this increase of impacts of climate change, it will be good to give an opportunity for agroecological products and produce in terms of trade, so that can be, because this agroecology is one of the resilient approaches that we have to climate change. So in coming years, it will be one of the most important approach that farmers can be able to rely on. in terms of food security and also climate resilience. So we have different treaties that support trade, but unfortunately most of them do not support agroecology. So like the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement is majorly on the industrial agriculture. So we really want to see how we dialogue to ensure that policies that support agroecology trade are there to support the smallholder farmers. As Kenya, we are now in Kenya, we are happy that we launched the National Agroecology Strategy for Food System Transformation, which was last year in November. And this gives us an opportunity to be able to advance agroecology in the country. And this is also going to give an opportunity to advance trade of agroecological produce. And it also work with the East Africa community to ensure that agroecology is also embedded in their policy so that it can be supported in terms of cross-border. So we'll also want to support the territorial market. I think you saw one yesterday on agroecology because it's very important for our farmers. Because we realize you cannot tell farmers, I know most of them are here, that you have to leave conventional and go to agroecology, but you don't show them where to get the money for the agroecological products. So the trade is the motivation factor for the adoption of agroecology. So in this forum, I would like us, and I look forward for us to discuss the common barriers for this trade of agroecology, including the issues of complex custom procedures. We have the custom people here who will tell us what are the challenges, what are the opportunities, and how can these farmers take the opportunities. Also in issues of transport cost, I know most of the farmers suffer because of poor infrastructure, and we are here to discuss how can we be able to curb some of these barriers. We have the issue of intellectual properties. I know them there yesterday who have not, I know he might have an issue trading whatever he was saying because of some of these issues. So how can we support some of these farmers that have this knowledge, the indigenous knowledge, the indigenous products? How can we support them to be able to trade them freely without fearing of legal issues? And also on issues of policy, certification cost, we have the PGS certification cost and other certification procedures for organic and agroecological products. What are the challenges in the certification? Because if we really want to trade outside, some of these, we must go through some of these certification processes. KEBS is here, they will tell us, how are you going to handle the certification and for the farmers to get that mark? What will happen? COAN is here. How are you going to use the Kilimo High mark? They are going to talk more about the Kilimo High mark, which they use for the organic products. And then we have the issue of multiple currency. With this cross-border, even the one in Busia, I don't know if you trade with Kenya shilling or with Uganda shilling. Both. But you see now that one also brings the exchange losses. Yeah, so those are the issues we need to talk. I wish there was a time we can trade like the way Europe have the euro and they can trade with the euro throughout. But you see now for us, you have to change the money. There are some losses that will incur during the exchange. So we want, once we identify these barriers, we would like now to have them addressed both at state level and also at the EAC level, so that we can see which practices and policies can be able to address. Because as much as we talk, if we don't have policies in place, then we may not be able to address. We all know that policies are the ones that will be able to guide and protect some of these issues that we are going to, that we are talking about. So on issues of, so therefore it is important for us to identify those bottlenecks, especially in the supply chain, the quality and the safety nets. We know we have the phytosanitary standards. How are we going to address also those things and the impact of the trade policies? So for this workshop, we have 4 main objectives. One is to foster dialogue on opportunities and challenges of agroecological products and produce in the cross-border trade. Number 2 is to develop a roadmap and policy recommendation for scaling up export of agroecological products, and then to identify policies and practices at national level to support cross-border trade of agroecology. The last one is to organize a field visit, which we did today, of food for organizing field visit. The field visit was really important for us because we understand we are not all from agroecological sector. So some of you may not have understood what we will come and discuss here. But at least you had the opportunity yesterday to understand more on what do we mean by agroecology, especially on the ground, and what are some of these issues that the farmers will present here. We are facing them on the ground. So we are really happy and hope that we transform some of you to go back home and practice agroecology. We are preachers of agroecology, so we hope that some of you got saved and you are going to do the same. Is it true? Are there people who are transformed? Wale waliokoka jana? Thank you so much. So I would like to take this opportunity to welcome all of you on behalf of Pelham Kenya, our country coordinator and the board, to this workshop. Please, this is a free workshop in terms of participation. Feel free to engage and share as much as you can. There is no right or wrong answer. So wakulima, mko hapa. Kuna mkulima elewi hapa English, ndio tukue careful on the language to use, or are we all okay with the language? Tuko sawa? Tuko sawa sawa. So wakulima, tafadhali, hii ndio chance yenyu, hii workshop ya leo, kuhakikisha kwamba mmesema ile machangamoto mnapitia. Ndio watu, tuko na watu wa customs, tuko na watu wa ministry, tuko na watu wa KRA, watu wa KEBS, peleka maswali yao yenyu yote hapo. Sawa sawa? Ndio tuweze kusaidiana, ndio tukitengeneza road have a very good roadmap on who and how to address some of these issues. Sawa sawa? So to invite the next presenter, I would like to welcome our board member. We have a board member here who is part of Pelham Kenya, and I would like her to come give some remarks. Then welcome the next presenter is from the Ministry of Trade. Yes. So simpigie makofi board member wetu. Na ni mmoja tu, kwa hivyo anajua mke. Eh. Msimuone hivyo, ni mkubwa wangu.
Habari zenu. Nimeona nizoe kutumia hii podium kwa sababu huko State House wametengeneza kanisa. Naweza pata kazi ya kuhubiri injili. My name is Rachel Momo. I work for Trans Community Organization which is in Busia County. As a member of Pelham Kenya. And today I was attending this meeting as a farmer. I was not even informed that today I'm a board member and I was supposed to give a presentation or say something in my capacity as a board member. Nilikuwa namwambia nimemsamea kwa kitu amenifanyia. So I would like to remind all the members in this hall that she had said that Pelham Kenya is a national network. Maybe she also needs to insist that it is an international organization that is a member of an international network within 12 countries in Africa, and we are so happy to inform you about that. We would like you people to focus on agroecology, and we really support agroecological principles and practices in Kenya. And actually the farmers and the members who have embraced agroecology are really doing well, and they can give testimonies that we have really reduced levels of infections, sicknesses that are very critical to our human health. We have also increased our financial status. You were listening to one of our farmers yesterday when he was telling you about the product that he has, and when he tells you about the prices, you look at him and say, wow, this guy is going far. Ni vile tu baada hajaanza kuendesha magari kama Prado, but yako nayo kwa village. He started small, and he has really influenced so many other people and kama watu wenye maana anasema wameokoka, yeye anakuwa mchungaji na pia anahubiri injili ya organic foods. Watu wengi wameokoka sana huko Busia, and that's why you've seen that many members in this forum are coming from Busia, because they have really understood and they have embraced their program on agroecology. Please, when you live here, don't go as you came in. If you cannot say praise the Lord, say praise agroecology. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Nawashukuru sana kwa kukuja. We don't take it for granted that you are here today. You are going to take this information far and wide so that we can be able to impact our community positively on matters concerning agroecology. Sini sawa? Najua sana watu wa Busia wanaogopa kuongea kuhusu magendo yenye wanafanya. They do a lot of smuggling. When they are told to follow procedures and processes at the one-stop border point, they have created their own panya routes to smuggle goods. Wanapitisha Uganda, wanaingiza Kenya, wanasmuggle mpaka watoto. We know they are organic children. Ndio ukiona wenye wametoka Busia hapa wengi ni weusi sana. Wapendi kujichanganya na mafuta. So we are so excited and we thank God that anybody coming from here, you will take something positive home. And we want to thank our departments, of government departments that are supporting this. And like we have heard Mane say, one of our objectives is to focus on the policies that entail agroecology. In Busia County, the policies is started long time ago, but we are surprised that Murang'a County is the only county that is looking like they have gotten the gospel, they have gotten saved, na wanaendeleza injili, na hata karibu wameshafika binguni. Sisi wameshafika Sayuni. Si mnaita Sayuni? Sisi bado tuko tu Misri. Busia County tuko Misri. Can we try and become the number 2 in the showing that we have the agroecology policy in place? I believe in my directors who are here. They are so strong and powerful. Some of them, without them, watasema this one did not happen. So we are giving a challenge to them that can you follow the footsteps of Murang'a County so that we can be able also to preach the same gospel of agroecology, other than just saying agroecology and we are not doing the same processes. Ningependa kuchukua hii nafasi kumkaribisha our next speaker ambaye, thank you so much. I have been given the right name so that I may not gamble here saying the next speaker. Thank you so much, Sheba. Our next speaker, please put your hands together for him, Mr. John Wainaina from State Department of Agriculture, until he comes. Thank you so much. You're most welcome. Amwezi makofi, nimejaribu sana.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Habari ya asubuhi. Yeah, it's a place to be here. Wakati nasimama mbele ya farmers and especially agricultural traders. Nasikianga niko nyumbani, but sometimes you feel also intimidated because when you come to these forums, a lot of times I come just to learn. Sikuji kuongea. Especially when people start talking about things like agroecology, wanaongea mambo ya organic farming, mambo ya secular. Uliita secular nini, madam? Hizo vitu zinatisha serikali. And a lot of times people misunderstand. Sana watu wana misunderstand government. Not the issues of 2-term or 1-term. What I mean is when you have 53 million people to feed, 53 million now, and I believe in some statistics it's more than that. Na unafaa ulishe hao watu. If you are the one making that policy, a lot of people will accuse you of bias towards conventional farming rather than this circular organic farming, agroecological farming. So sometimes you need to understand government in that even as we talk about these other production or food systems, at the end of the day, you need to feed some 50 million people or so. So a lot of times we'll put a lot of our efforts on conventional, because one way or the other, this is that will feed most of our people. But having said that, I think I've heard Madam talking about what we take, how we integrate agroecology in our policies, not just in Kenya, but also regionally. And so it's a good place to start the discussion. The Kenyan government, as you understand, continues to implement the BITA agenda, the bottom-up transformation agenda. And among the key pillars of that is, of course, agriculture, where we are talking about economic growth and food security. And as such, in the Ministry of Agriculture, we have, as you understand, the sector have been devolved. So most of the things, most of the production will be handled by our brothers in the counties. But at the national level, we deal especially with the policies. And so if you read the agriculture, as much as we emphasize so much on the conventional agriculture to feed a lot of people, if you read the agriculture policy of 2021, still talking about the agroecology issues. So if you go to that document, you'll find that the government will put emphasis again on making sure that you also promote agroecology, considering the era that we are living, the issues of climate change. If you need food systems resilience, we will have to go to some of these routes, like taking care of our farms and making sure we stop depleting our farms, rather start regenerating this stuff. So that is why last year we were able to finalize the national agroecology strategy for food systems transformation. It was launched in 2024, and so definitely that is a strategy that is in place that we are going to continue implementing. And so we are together in this. Once you have these ideas put into a strategy, government strategy, then moving forward, of course, this is a place where we'll be drawing upon as we make our plans. It means we'll be referring to that document as we start implementing it. Starting from 2024, I believe it will go all the way up to 2033. So the way I understand agro, I see that we want to deal with the trade for agroecological produce. Inanipatia hiyo shida because agroecological produce, because for me it will become very difficult to differentiate, because what is agroecological produce and the other conventional. Can you produce all the crops produce agroecological? So that when you talk of agroecological produce, you are talking about all this produce. Yeah? So we can interchange the two. So basically I'm not so lost when I believe that we are talking about all the agricultural produce that we talk about. Thank you, Martha. Just that we want to produce them agroecologically. And so basically I know that when you talk of agroecological agriculture, we are talking about taking a holistic approach in terms of production, where you want to integrate the livelihood strategies together with the food systems, as well as the food systems, as well as the ecological health of our farms. So that kind of interaction is why we are here. So we want to produce crops, produce livestock. We want to produce our produces in a sustainable manner. And as I start here, I know that with the issues and the challenges of climate change and so forth, this is the way to move, because at some point, even as we talk about conventional farming, at some point it may become difficult even to do that conventional farming with the issues of climate change and so forth. That is why these days we are talking about food systems as an approach to issue of trade. Coming to the issue of cross-border trade, I know that when you talk about cross-border trade, and especially in terms of the policy level, we have at the national policy has tried to integrate all these issues so that whether it is on agricultural produce, whether it is in other manufactured produce, whether it in other goods and services, how we trade them here, and also we trade them abroad. And so it is talking about, it is emphasizing a lot about exports. And so when you read it, you will get the government agenda in terms of trade, both within the country, across the country. So when you talk about promoting trade, government Kenya deals with that in 3 different ways. First of all, integration. As you understand, we continue dealing with these issues in a community level, whether it is the East Africa community, whether it is at the commercial level, where we have all these protocols that allow us to exchange goods and services with each other. We lessen the processes and ensure that goods and services go across the borders easily. And then we, of course, have the trade facilitations, the issues of the WTO. These are protocols that have been placed in place, and of course, where we have signed into them, they allow us to have standards on both sides, and replication and reciprocation on the other side, so that our goods can be received on the side as their goods. And of course, finally, we have customs modernization, and I know that us from KEBS and KRA will be talking about that, so that we can facilitate easier access to our country, and also the way we are also received on the other side. We are talking about the one-shop border point, where we have all these agencies at one place. We have a very own that deal with the phytosanitary issues, and I know they work with KRA and KEBS at the border to see to it that goods come and we don't have a lot of at the border. I also know that even as we talk about the formal crossing at the border, to go through these agencies so that our goods can go to the other side and they can come to this side. We have an issue of what you call smuggling, or the panya routes, and truth be told, we really depend on the informal formal trade. A lot of do not pass through the formal process. They don't pass through the formal border, and they come in through the other routes. And quite frankly, it is a very significant amount of production that comes to. I've had my sister say that every day it is not likely that you go to sleep without having taken something from Uganda. So again, you can understand me the way I started when I said, as government, again, when we have 53 million people to feed, and we are not producing enough. So we need these neighbors. The only thing is, I think we can work with you. I have seen that we have a lot of organizations, especially the traders and the farmers association, so that even as you don't follow the right channel, even if you don't come through the formal channels, you don't pay something to KRA. And I think KRA does not charge agricultural produce that is raw anyway. I know the only charge they do is probably the inspections or something like that. That's the only fee that they will charge you. Even as you don't, so that you can come to KEF, they can certify the phytosanitary issues. You can work with that, so that even as they come through the panya routes, we are not bringing produce that can harm our people. So we can come we can work together with groups from the Kenyan side and from the Ugandan side, so that we can look at issues of standards even as we pass through the informal one. So thank you very much. Again, you are welcome to this meeting. Let us exchange ideas. Let us see what we can carry as a farmers organization, as traders organization, as civil society organizations that are here, and also as government, so that as we go into the next policy making, we can understand where we are coming from, where you are coming, can be better equipped as we in policy formation. So I welcome you. Thank you very much for this, for our organizers. We appreciate that. We hope at the end of the day, we will go home with a lot. So with that, it is my pleasure to declare this open. Asante.
Hiyo ni makofi ya serikali kweli? Sorry. We need to give better claps. Samson, una makofi ya slow food, si ndio? Tupatie hiyo.
Makofi ya slow food I think ni ile ya kuku wa kienyeji. Mnamjua? Especially the people from Busia. Hiyo ni makofi tutawapigia, si ndio? Tumpigie kari, si ndio? Haya, sawa. Na ni vizuri tuko divided, kuna kulia na kuna kushoto. Sawa sawa. Nikifanya hivi, watu wa kulia mnachapa. Sawa sawa. Nikifanya hivi, watu wa kushoto mnachapa. Hebu tu test. Amkuwa ready. Na ni mara moja, si mara mingi. Ni kwa nini hampigi? Sawa. You are warming up. Let us do it, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we have a special guest who is online. His name is Africa from AFSA. He's going to introduce himself. And there is a study they have done on cross-border trade. So he's going to also take us through the study, just in a brief. And after that, if you have questions, you will note somewhere. After he finishes, you'll be able to ask. He doesn't have a lot of time, so we'll only take key questions. Don't ask the ones that we can answer here, just ask the ones he can answer. So, karibu sana Africa.
That are traded between between Kenya and Tanzania on this particular borders, Namanga, Tarekea. Then between at Busia, again, other products apart from maize, beans, and sorghum, we saw there is cassava, kuna bananas, ndizi, kuna watermelon, not only ndizi, even the green bananas, matoke, ambao wanajua, wao wanatoka Busia wanajua, matoke, it's those green bananas that are for cooking. Then watermelon and oranges. So what does this show us? It shows us that there is a vibrancy of agroecological products being traded between Uganda and Kenya, and between Kenya and Tanzania. We tried to compare these products with conventional products using the figures from Kenya Revenue Authority, using figures from International Trade Center calculations. So let me just take an example. Tunapoona hapa grain sorghum. In 2023, Kenya exported grain sorghum 17 metric tons to Kenya, to Uganda. No, 17,349 tons to Uganda of sorghum. Let's remember this figure. Grain sorghum, Kenya in 2023 exported 17,349 thousand tons to Uganda. When we go up here, utaona Kenya, we calculated sorghum 35 metric tons as agroecological products being exported from Uganda, no, between Uganda and Kenya in terms of sorghum. So these were the other products in other, that the official calculations in Ongea kuhusu that we get in Kenya Revenue Authority data. Maize, the commonality is that in terms of which is the most traded product, in terms of conventional and agroecological, they are the same. Hizo ambazo zinaongoza maize, grain sorghum, watermelons na kadhalika, oranges, beans na kadhalika. Again, you can see trade between Kenya and Tanzania, unaona. But then the question we ask ourselves is this really a true representation of what agroecological products are in terms of being traded? And we found that actually the figures we have are even so lower if you were to actually do a very comprehensive assessment of agroecological products trading. Because when we tracked the products, tulikuta kwamba the middleman, yeye anakuja anaenda Sayuni, like one of the speakers was saying, anaenda Sayuni, anatoa agroecological maize kwa shamba, anaenda Misri ama Bondo, anatoa conventional maize, yeye hajali, anachanganyika. So we found that actually these figures of maize, I am having feedback that these figures of maize volumes being traded and being calculated by Kenya Revenue Authority are not necessarily conventional. There is a mix. There is a high chance that these products are mixing even agroecological products because the middlemen that do aggregation do not mind about separating those products that have been grown through agroecology and those that have been grown through conventional means. So that is the one first reason why agroecological products are actually even more traded between Uganda and Kenya, and between Kenya and Tanzania. The last bit is because we only considered just a few borders, 35% of the border crossing points. So really, it would be unfair to say that after only considering 35% of the borders and just staying 7 days on each border, that, you know, that this is a true figure of agricultural products. It cannot be lower, but the chance is that we are even having more trading in agricultural products than we do. And last, of course, again here it is because ukiangalia, like come and explain, maize is only these products are only captured in figures using the standardized codes, HS codes, harmonized standard. It's a code that they use when they are calculating import and export data. That is why it is most likely that these conventional products that we see here by the ITC are likely to be including agroecological. So in the next 2 minutes, 3 minutes, let me look at the ecosystem and the challenges. What are the policies? I will not go into many of these, but we realize that there are policies like at the continental level, like the comprehensive agriculture, the CADAP strategy, which is now of recent, it has just the Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program strategy, it has recognized agroecology as part of its solutions that are going to prepare agriculture in Africa. This is one of the first time, and I'm sure organizations like Pelam Kenya were very instrumental in pushing for CAADP for CAADP process to consider this. Then we have the African Continental Free Trade Area. It has issues, but again, it kind of provides a market that can be used to advance agroecology. The only issue that we have with the AFCFTA is its rules of origin principles, and especially when it comes to seed, agricultural seed. So the African Continental Free Trade Area rules of origin, they allow, for example, a Kenyan maize farmer to import maize seed from Mexico or Argentina and then use it in growing. And when they grow that, and the Mahindia, and then they harvest maize, that maize will be considered wholly made and wholly originating from East African community or from Africa, even though the parent seed came out of Africa. That wouldn't be a problem, but our concern is that we already have existing seed banks, which actually need to be supported and also just regulated. So by opening up and allowing the AFCFTA to procure seeds outside the outside Africa, that kind of leads to a continued a continued engagement, a continued arrest, or rather domination of our seed systems by the market, by the other seed corporations. So when it comes to challenges, I will not go through the national policies, but I will just allow me 1 minute to thank the Kenyan government for being futuristic. Kenya was the first country that launched the national agroecology policy, if I do remember. But even before then, there were counties like Mulanga, which had an agroecology policy way before the national one. And that is really one of the best practices that puts Kenya apart, and on top of other African countries. It was very exciting to see. Also, we have other county strategies like agroecology policies like Vihiga County, and I know Pelam Kenya did a lot of work in supporting these policies to be enacted. So the challenges that we got, what are the challenges to agroecological products being traded between Kenya and Uganda, between Kenya and Tanzania? One, it is storage facilities, especially for perishable products, was one of the challenges. And we realized that for those community grain stores that are available on these borders, they are largely for large-scale, most often conventional traders. In terms of certification, ndugu zetu kutoka KBS tuliona kwamba certification fees, inspection fees, for example, they charge $250 as inspection fees per consignment. So ukileta this one wanakutoza 250. Ukileta nyingine the same day unatozwa nyingine. So if you are to do, for example, let's say 4 consignments in a day, it means that you would have paid $1,000 US in certification inspection. Then pesticide residue analysis unatozwa $140 US per consignment. And that was the issue that we are saying, okay, already by being agroecological, it means that I'm not using pesticides at all. I am using only biopesticides, which are not harmful. Why should I again pay for pesticides residue analysis? So that was the issue. So certifications challenges were one of the aspects undermining the trading in agricultural products between Kenya and these two countries. Then we realized that there is the simplified trading regime, which allows traders that have goods lower than 2,000 USD to trade their products without following the complicated process. Lakini tulikuta kwamba on Busia and Namanga Tarakea borders, traders still incur some charges to obtain simplified certificate of origin. Also, the waiting time at Busia, for example, we found that they can take between an hour and between 40 minutes and an hour to get this simplified certificate of origin, which is quite high if you compare, for example, if you compare to Katuna, where they take between 20 to 30 minutes to get this this certificate. Again, multiple currencies came in, like Mane was saying in the beginning. Again, there were prevalence of high export-import tariffs. You find that, for example, traders between Uganda and Kenya must navigate 7 different agencies at the border. 7 different agencies on plant health, standards bodies, biosafety bodies, sport health, food authorities. All of these really doing almost the same thing. And you find that the testing charges, for example, if they take close to 20,000 Kenyan shillings, which is around actually 10% of the consignment value. So again, that is another issue that we need to really look into and harmonize. Nimeongea kuhusu lengthy approval processes at border points. On Busia, it was largely notorious. Busia and Namanga, the waiting time was largely notorious, between 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Multiple permits, again, were some of the issues that we found in terms of extensive paperwork and the kind of permits that you have to have, especially if you're dealing in some products like grain and like grain. Of course, there was also limited awareness in terms of by the traders in terms of utilization of the simplified trade regimes provisions. You are exempt from import tax, but there are countries that still charge value-added tax and all that. So a trader would say, Akini, if you're saying that this is liberalization and I'm supposed to not pay anything, kwani natozwa nilipe kodi on some products. So that was the issue. So in conclusion, what needs to be done? La kwanza ni kwamba we should streamline custom operations to facilitate cross-border agricultural products trade. And one of the issues is really to review the ongoing ESC Customs Management Act to add components of trade information desk officers who are critical in supporting agricultural products trade. It would be good for Kenya, being the chair of, given even the SG comes from the SG of ESC comes from Kenya, it would be good for Kenya to sponsor a motion to have a regional agroecology policy. This would help to complement the already existing national policies. Again, and so the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation and the State Department of Trade could be very helpful. We need to fast track the harmonization of regional currencies to ensure that we have evaded the issue of multiple currencies. PERAM would help us, and by working with the government to scale up the use of participatory guarantee systems and organizing farmer organizations. Na la mwisho, we should establish respondents felt that it would be good if civil society organizations like AFSA, PERAM can work with county governments like Busia, Vihiga, and all that to establish national directories of agroecological producers, entrepreneurs, and products to know which ones are where are they located, in which products, where is the concentration of a particular product, so that in case of any policy intervention that, let's say, Ministry of Agriculture Kenya wants to give, it would know where to find these agroecological producers. And lastly, government should provide incentives to produce agroecological products as well as appropriate labeling. Yeah, the question of identifying between agroecological, organic, and conventional is something that came out, and I know that PERAM Kenya has been championing the need to create a mark, a labeling mark, to help in the easy identification of agroecological products. Pole, nimechukua muda mwingi, lakini asante sana kwa kunisikiliza kwa makini, na hebu ni share hapa. Asanteni.
This is a study. You can imagine the level of work they have done as AFSA. So makofi ikuwe na mpango. Tumpe gani? Yanyayo. Aya, tuongoze.
Nataka kuchapa makofi ni style na iwe ya environmental. Unajua makofi ya environmental ndo wanachapa hivi. Panua mikono hivi. Haya, weka. Those are not environmental. Haya, tupeleke haya. You are spoiling. Environmental hauchapi. Unapiga unataka kupiga kesi ya Afrika. Haya, tupeleke makofi haya. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, before you leave, we have maybe some have questions or comments or reflection. So maybe we take the first 5 questions. You just raise your hand so that I know how many people have follow-up questions or comments. I know for Kajiado, we did not study Hispania, but we focused on Busia and Namanga. Hispania is in Migori. We did not have research there, but it's just a representation. So if you have a question for our researcher, please raise your hand. Raise in confidence. We have 1, 2, 3. Africa, how long do you have?
Let's engage. Let's engage maybe 10, 20 minutes.
So that we know how long he has. Some of the
50.
questions we might have to take down and then maybe we respond later. How many minutes? 10. 3. 3 minutes only.
No, 10
Okay.
minutes, 20,
Okay, we start with Mr. John, and then raise your hands again. Emmanuel, you just ask the question, 3 people. So we start John, Emmanuel, and Madam, and then we take another round. So, karibu. So you'll come here in front. Just come all of you so that we don't waste time waiting for you here.
Thank you very much, Africa. Very quickly, during your study, in your estimation, in terms of statistics, what would be the percentage of the agroecological produce as a percentage of the total produce that was traded around there? And maybe in a nutshell, I would like you to give me 2 most effective strategic interventions, in your opinion, that will help us on our way to agroecological produce promotion.
Okay, first, appreciation for the good work done. I have 2 questions. Number 1, who is the certifier of this produce that you are having in Namanga, in Busia? who is that person who confirmed that those were agroecological produce? Another question, I was waiting to hear something to do with onion, especially in Namanga, because we have something that these onions does well in the dry regions, and they are the most hazardous pesticides. You see hizo onions, hizo garlic, hizo spring onions. Maybe what made you not to mention those onions, yet it is the most thing that come to Kajiado?
The other people come in front, he'll take all the questions and answer at once. So if you raised your hand, kuja mbele. If you raised your hand, kuja huku mbele. Africa will write all the questions and respond at once because of time. Kama kuna swali, this is the time.
Thank you. Mine is not a question per se, but a concern. I happen to have participated in the study in Busia and also had a chance to attend the validation exercise at Manzoni. And the consultant has not captured some of the things we raised, because we agreed that we'll have a final document that can be sold out and someone can appreciate without much criticism. The report is more bringing out the trade on agri products and not agroecologically produced products. Because for Busia, I want to be convinced that the watermelon we are producing agroecologically. So some of the products we placed there are not agroecologically produced. And we shared with the consultant the products that are agroecologically produced more per se in Busia. And there's also produce that is highly produced in Busia, the paddy rice that has not been captured, that is traded to Uganda, is milled and then sold back to Busia. Thank you.
Thank you. I think for me, in addition to what Manuel has raised about the heavy presence of onion trade across the Namanga, especially the Tarakea-Tanzania border, there's also the high presence of beans. I'm surprised that also beans was missing out as a prominent product. But having said that, I was also shocked with the outcome that the refined grain, it's Kenya that is selling the grain, the maize grain, back to Tanzania. When you happen to be anywhere between Namanga and Tarakea, you see a number of Kenyans crossing across to the other side to buy the grain from Tanzania because of the price. So I'm surprised that it is actually the opposite.
Thank you. My questions are two very quickly. Number one, was the study on agroecological produce or the trade between Kenya and the East African countries? That's number one. Number two, while following the IPP media is in Tanzania, they were talking and writing a study carried by AFSA, and the study flagged out non-trade barriers, including an evaluation of at the border points, lack of recognition in policies, and the inconsistent procedures as the major constraints. And I'm looking at when the study was being carried out, they flagged out that farmers could not even meet 6 principles of agroecology. Now, my concern here is there any recommendation from the farmer's side to address the production of agroecology produce before even we go to the marketing part of it? Thank you.
Hello. Okay. My question goes to, I want to understand, when you are highlighting the methodology, you said that you sampled 35 traders from each border point, which is okay. Did you, in your study, because studies also have their limits, and the way they're structured. Did you in any case consider so talking to consumers of these products? That's one. And two, recommendations that you gave. Did you also feel that considering local consumption so that we can reduce, and that is one of the principles of agroecology is connectivity. If we can end the local consumption, then it reduces distance between the farmers and the consumers, so that consumers can readily get those produce at their within their locality. Number three, when you're talking of Tarakea, I come from Kajiado County. That's where I live. Actually, my home is in Namanga, and Tarakea is where we usually operate from sometimes. I was expecting tomatoes to be one of the products that would have been considered, because most of the tomatoes that come from Kajiado are sold in all parts of this country, including Busia. When I was in Busia, I was told they get their tomatoes from Kajiado and they cross even to Uganda. So I was expecting also that in terms of considering the products, why maybe tomatoes were not considered. Much as we appreciate the study is good, this is something that we can work with. Thank you.
People have added the line, very short because of time.
Okay, thank you. Mine are just two questions. Cross-border trade in agricultural products is mostly led by middlemen, is middlemen led. So maybe in the course of the study, were you able to identify if there is any record in either partner states of traders or middlemen dealing with AEPs, so that maybe you can separate them? And if there are any, the consumers or guys who are importing or exporting those products, is there a way probably they can identify AEPs in the market when we are buying or when they are selling? Thank you.
Kiza, this is Rulu from Busia Cross Border Traders. We are just requesting that as we develop a county agroecological policy in Busia, because we are a key partner, I would like you to fast track it so that we can, because we are a leading partner and key stakeholder in the process, let it be fast tracked, because we are ready to go. Even from here today, we have our team.
Africa.
Okay. Those were wonderful. Oh, it's good to see you, Mzee Eruru, once again. Thank you so much for traveling all the way from Busia to come. And thank you, Ratemo and Manei, for really having Ibana Eruru in the room. He is a very wonderful person. When he came to Uganda, he charged us very well. You know, tulikuwa tunasema ametuletea maandamano, sasa hata Uganda we do not have hizo tabia za maandamano. But it was great. It was good to see you and the wonderful insights, especially on how to craft our also policies. I appreciate the comments na nawapongeza sana for the wonderful comments and questions. I will respond to each one of them. The question of the percentage, Bwana Wainana, the percentage of these agricultural of the AEPs in terms of the total trade products. To be honest with you, it would be hard to foretell, to disclose how much, to say how much of this is agroecological, what's the percentage of, let's say, of maize between Uganda and Kenya trade, how much of it is agroecological. Because at the onset, we do not have national database in terms of statistics for agroecological trade products trade, but also the fact that we were basically just using a sample space of one particular border and also just a few people, that a few actors, that is the traders, 35 in the Busia market from Uganda side and 35 in Kenya side. But having said that, to me, I would say the aspect that and it's good to see Ndugu Thomas Liza from Shiwakuta, Tanzania. Karibu sana bwana. I would say that it is most likely that much of the maize that we are actually having, a big percentage of this maize, whether 70, whether 80, is coming from smallholder farmers who are actually largely practicing, not all, but some of the agroecological principles. That I can take to the bank. So the percentage might not be really there, but what I would say is that our observation would reveal that much of the outsourcing is done from smallholder farmers. And by small, I am not giving the dog a bad name to hang. No, I'm saying it is aggregated from the different actors, majority of them being smallholder farmers, and there's a big chance of these being more agricultural. And actually, it's good that you're asking, Mheshimiwa Wainana. This means this even charges us more as actors, both Peram Kenya, AFSA, Kenya Ministry of Agriculture, Kenya Revenue Authority, to kind of have a mechanism, the territorial market traders like Mzee Wangu from Busia, to ensure that we have some way of documenting and tracking agricultural products trade. In terms of strategies to promote AEP trade, true. The first one definitely is to have an idea of the concentration of the products in terms of our trade volumes. That we really need to have a mechanism of tracking the volumes of these agricultural products in our trading. That mechanism has to come out, and it would be helpful then in ensuring how can, let's say, the government of Kenya then be able to support these traders, only if they were known and only if we knew the concentration of the products in which they are dealing in. Then another to me would be implementing the county and the national agroecological strategies. Kenya has actually, okay, I shouldn't be saying this because Wakenya watatuchoma on kwa social media, lakini Uganda borrowed a lot of language from Kenya's agroecology strategy, but also from the county agroecology strategies in terms of when we are crafting our strategy, our agroecology strategy, we borrowed a lot of language. Jameni museme eti we do not have akili. No, we borrowed. So the strategies are in a way that Kenya has positioned itself as a multiplier and a supportive effect, that the county policies support the implementation of the national agroecology strategy. So I would say that we need to support the implementation of the national agroecology policy, but also the county ones. And actually, if we support the implementation, it would address the question that came about local consumption. Because one of the beautiful, and sorry, I'm not overhyping Kenya, but let us be able to say ukweli, ikiwa ni ukweli. If you look at Kenya National Agroecology Strategy, there is a big component which is talking about local feeding and local marketing of agroecological products. Now, that is the best you can get in anything if you are to connect markets to farmers. So implementing such a policy would definitely help in bringing local consumption and integrating farmers into the local economy and the national economy. the issue of identifying certification of AEPs. Yeah, indeed. Certification is still a challenge, but like I indicated, we had identified farmers and traders that our partners already were dealing with as identifying as agroecological. But we did not take that as gospel truth. No. We just then engaged them on the 13 principles and said, okay, how many of these are you meeting? And we put a threshold. If you are, you should meet at least 6 of the 13 principles. And of those, you should have 0 utilization of inorganic fertilizers and inorganic or synthetic pesticides. I am sorry if I have not answered all the questions, but I nominate Ratemo to answer all the remaining questions. Lakini, thank you so much for your audience, and for those that true, the study, the beauty with the research is that research is always updated. So for all the issues that have come out, I can make a promise. This is not a political promise, because we promise politically and we do not deliver. But I can make a solemn promise that an academic one, that we will try to incorporate them in the study, in the science brief, but even most importantly, in the follow-up meetings that we are having and engagements that we are having with Pelam Kenya and Shiwakuta and other actors, will be able to undertake on them. Nawapongeza na nawashukuru sana. Asanteni.
Yeah, I think we have some answers. Some of them maybe we are the ones supposed also to answer, because we are the Kenyans and we are the farmers, we are the ones doing trade. So I think during our plenary, I think some of them will be answered there. So due to time, we want to break for tea. And after tea, we come and have a panel discussion of 5 very important people from different sectors and trigger these conversations. Ni sawa?